All right, guys, we're going to take a look at the different diet options that are offered by the Lurong Challenge and maybe gain some insight on the different options. They give us basically two different options to pick from. We're going to kind of peel those apart a little bit and hopefully maybe get some insight into which one makes the most sense for you individually on the upcoming challenge. So the two different options, and I'm going to use my phone here to kind of read about it because I'm kind of learning about this for the first time. They provide a new option called the Macro Focus Diet. That's their new option. And then they have their standard option, which we have done in previous challenges. So let's talk about the standard one first. The standard one has essentially various restrictions on food. So, you know, pretty much across the board, sugar's taken off the table, for example, right? So if you are eating a food that has sugar added, then that's going to be considered a cheat meal or a cheat, and so you're not going to earn a lot of points on that one. And likewise, as you go through the different levels, the first one being starter, the next one being pro, the next one being elite, each one of those levels is a little more restrictive as far as which foods you can actually select from, especially with respect to the carbohydrates, because the carbohydrates are usually the ones that you're going to find are going to either have that added sugar, or they're going to tend to be in foods that are have less nutritional value. Now, of course, there are carbs that have good nutrient-dense carbs, things like green leafy vegetables and your veggies and your root vegetables and things like that, where you're really going to get not only a good sustainable fuel and energy from it, but you're also going to get a lot of macro or micronutrients as well. So, so the standard Lurong diet is going to have those different levels, and the focus is really going to be on the quality of the food and making sure that we're making the best choices with each one of those meals that we have throughout the day. The point system on that one is still true to form on how Lurong does that, where they look at each meal, 6 meals throughout the day, as far as giving you an opportunity to score as many points as you can. That keeps things moving pretty much in a forward direction. If you have a meal here or a meal there that doesn't quite add up and you're losing some points on that, it doesn't throw the whole day off. It's just that one meal. You don't get knocked off the bandwagon, so to speak, and you can continue to earn points by making good choices on the next meal and things like that. So that's how the standard Lurong diet plans have worked in past challenges, and that's the way it's going to continue working for that option on this challenge as well. And we have another option that they're providing for us called the Macro Focus Diet. So the Macro Focus Diet, what that's basically going to do is it's going to add an additional or a slightly different focus on the nutrition. They have the focus is going to be on the macro content of the food. So what do we mean by macros? Macros are the 3 macronutrients: protein, carbs, and fats, for example, right? So those are the 3 different macronutrients. The Macro Focus Diet then is going to focus on your composition, the ratios essentially of your protein, your carbs, and your fats, and what proportions you're getting of those things based on some information you're going to enter up front. It's going to calculate out your targets for how much protein, how much carbs, how much fat. that you should be eating every day. And the point system is going to basically provide points for how closely, well, there's some bonus points that you can get for how closely you're coming to that target. If you get within 10% of your macro targets, then you're going to get some bonus points. Plus, you're also going to get some points for the quality of your eating. They have 2 levels in that one, starter and pro. It's a little less restrictive than the standard Lurong diet, providing a little more options in there as far as your carbs. But again, the focus is going to be on the composition, how much protein, how much carbs, and how much fat that we eat. So the basis, really, the fundamentals of a macro diet in the broadest sense is really just concerned with the amount of each one of those that you would have, and not so much necessarily on the quality of the food. So what's nice about the macro focus diet that Lurong has is that they're going to maintain that focus on good quality foods, while at the same time allowing you to learn more about how those individual compositions of protein, carbs, and fat are going to help you throughout the day. You know, energy levels, for example, your performance in workouts, and you'll be able to track that throughout the challenge. So once you go to Lurong and you register for the challenge, one of the first things that you're going to do is you're going to pick that diet path. So which one might be right for you? If this is the first time that you're doing the Lurong challenge, I would tend to lean toward the various levels, because the standard diet approach, because there's it's a little easier from a point of view of not being so detailed into counting the number of proteins, grams of protein, grams of carbs, and so on that you're eating. And your focus is going to be really on eliminating some of those things that we know aren't too helpful for your good nutrition, right? So if you're really kind of thinking that the quality of foods that you have could be improved, and that's one of your goals, then I would say when you make your selection to pick the standard diet plan. That's going to definitely be pretty rewarding, because there's going to be a wide variety of foods that you probably haven't had yet, and it's just going to kind of open up lots of options of foods that are going to essentially be high quality foods, while eliminating things like added sugar and other kinds of things that really get in the way of good nutrition. So that would be my recommendation there. If you've done a Lurong challenge before, or perhaps you have had some experience either counting macros, or you're just really kind of curious about what's the right amount of protein that I should be eating, what's the right amount of carbs I should be eating, how much fat, and what would count as a good healthy fat, and that kind of a thing. The macro diet may be the right option for you. If you don't mind spending a little extra time counting and measuring and trying to figure out right proportions and things like that, if you don't mind that, the macro diet may actually be the one that's going to be more interesting for you. So consider choosing the macro focus diet there. Either way, there's not really going to be a right or wrong on this. Whatever you do pick, with those 2 different options, you're going to be successful on this challenge. Each one of these things is going to give you the tools that are going to help you to make progress throughout the 5 weeks and to see improvement. So you can't go wrong that way. Pick the one that feels the most right for you, and which one do I think I'm going to go? Since I've done a couple of the Lurong challenges, I'm curious about the macro focus diet, so I think that's the one that I'm going to be picking, but I'm going to give it some more thought. over the next couple of days, and then I'm going to be registering on Monday. Join me also with your registration, and we look forward to working with each and every one of us on this challenge. See you soon.